The Galactic Council chamber was vast, filled with alien leaders from different worlds. They sat in high, floating seats, looking down at the small group of human representatives standing in the center. The humans wore formal suits, their faces tense. They had come with hope, believing that the council would listen to reason. Daniel Ross, Earth's main ambassador, took a deep breath before speaking. "Members of the council, we ask only for fair treatment. We have followed your laws. We have contributed to the galaxy. So why is Earth being restricted? Why are we being cast out?" His voice was steady, but the frustration in his eyes was clear. A tall, silver-skinned alien named Chancellor Weimar leaned forward. His cold, glowing eyes studied Daniel with amusement. "Ambassador Ross, the decision has been made. Humanity's presence in the Galactic Council is no longer necessary." The words hit like a hammer. The humans exchanged shocked glances. "No longer necessary," Daniel repeated. "But why? We have done nothing wrong." A reptilian alien, Counselor Drexa, hissed in response. "Humans are unpredictable. You expand too fast. You develop too quickly. The Council believes your kind is a threat to stability." Daniel clenched his fists. "That's not true. We have always worked for peace. We have helped other worlds." Weimar's expression did not change. "It does not matter. The decision is final. Earth is now a restricted zone. All trade, travel, and communication with other planets will be cut off. If any human ship is found outside your solar system, it will be dealt with." A cold silence filled the room. The meaning behind those words was clear. Daniel's heart pounded. "You can't do this. You are sentencing billions of people to suffer." Weimar sighed. "You should be grateful we are not taking further action." The words sent a chill down Daniel's spine. He wanted to argue, to fight, but he saw the expressions of the alien leaders. They had already decided. There was no point in pleading. He took a deep breath and straightened his posture. "Very well," he said, his voice firm. "But remember this, humans do not break. You may think you have defeated us, but one day you will regret this decision." With that, he turned and walked out, followed by the other human representatives. The council chamber remained silent for a moment. Then, Chancellor Weimar let out a soft chuckle. "Humans, always so dramatic. They will struggle for a while, but in the end, they are nothing without us." The other aliens nodded in agreement. No one in the chamber realized how terribly wrong they were. On Earth, the news spread quickly. The entire planet watched in disbelief as the Council's announcement was broadcast across all networks. All trade routes are closed. All alien partnerships have been terminated. All off-world human colonies must return to Earth immediately. The people were in shock. Factories stopped working. Companies collapsed overnight. Hospitals struggled as alien-made medicines became unavailable. Food supplies began to shrink. The once thriving human civilization now faced an uncertain future. In the United Nations headquarters, world leaders gathered, their faces grim. President Elaine Carter looked at the other leaders. "They abandoned us," she said, anger in her voice. "They used us when we were useful, and now they throw us away like trash." General Marcus Dean, a veteran military leader, nodded. "They believe we will fall without their help." He clenched his fists. "We must prove them wrong." Dr. Aaron Patel, a leading scientist, looked at them with determination. "We have no choice but to rely on ourselves now. If they refuse to trade with us, we will build our own future." The room fell silent. The challenge ahead was enormous. Earth was cut off from the galaxy, alone and weakened. But one thing was certain: humanity would not give up. The Galactic Council had turned its back on Earth. But Earth was not defeated. Not yet. The night sky over Earth was quiet. Once, humans could look up and see alien ships passing by, bright specks of light moving across the darkness. Now, the sky was empty. The stars seemed further away than ever. The Galactic Council had closed all trade routes. No alien technology, no medicines, no resources, nothing could come to Earth. At first, people panicked. Factories shut down. Food prices soared. Many believed Earth would collapse within months. But humanity was not so easy to break. A world on the edge. In the streets of New London, people stood in long lines, waiting for food. Many whispered about how unfair the council had been. Some cursed the aliens, while others simply looked at their families with worry. David Hale, a former space engineer, looked around the broken city. Just a year ago, these streets had been filled with life. Now, abandoned shops and empty markets made it feel like a ghost town. The young boy, no older than 10, tugged at his sleeve. "Mister, will the spaceships come back?" David forced a smile. "No, kid, but we'll build our own." The boy's eyes widened. "Really?" David nodded. "Yeah, we're not giving up." And he meant it. The secret plan. Deep underground, far from the struggling cities, something extraordinary was happening. In hidden bunkers and secret labs, Earth's best scientists, engineers, and leaders had gathered. Dr. Aaron Patel, one of the top researchers, stood before a massive screen, showing Earth's hidden projects. He looked at the leaders around him, military officers, business owners, and top scientists. "We can't rely on alien technology anymore," he said. "We must create our own." A woman in a lab coat stepped forward. "But our industries were built on alien materials. Without them, we can't." "We will adapt," Dr. Patel interrupted. "We always do." The room fell silent. Then, General Marcus Dean, a strong-willed military leader, nodded. "If the Council thinks we are weak, they will not expect us to fight back. We must work in secret. No one can know what we're building." The leaders agreed. If humanity wanted to survive, they had to be careful. The Galactic Council was watching, waiting for Earth to fall. But Earth had other plans. A spark of hope. Months passed. Factories were rebuilt, but this time, they produced new materials, human-made technology designed without alien help. David Hale and his team of engineers worked day and night in a hidden facility. He looked at the half-finished spaceship in front of him. It wasn't as advanced as an alien cruiser, but it was a start. A young scientist walked up to him. "Sir, do you think this will work?" David wiped sweat from his forehead. "It has to." In another part of the world, Dr. Patel's team had discovered something incredible. While studying old alien technology, they found a way to improve it, something the Galactic Council had never done. They'd been using the same technology for centuries. Dr. Patel said, excitement in his voice. "But humans, we innovate." The Council's mistake. Meanwhile, on the Galactic Council's homeworld, Chancellor Weimar sat in his grand office. Reports from Earth showed no major activity. "See," he told a fellow counselor, "humans are struggling. They will never recover." Counselor Drexa nodded. "Perhaps we should have taken more direct action." Weimar shook his head. "No need. They will fade away on their own." But the Council had made a mistake. They had underestimated Earth. The road to revenge begins. Back on Earth, the first human-made warship was ready for testing. David Hale and his team stood in awe as the ship hovered above the ground. "We did it," someone whispered. Dr. Patel looked at the blueprints for their newest weapon, a power source more efficient than anything the aliens had. General Dean crossed his arms. "This is only the beginning." The world had suffered. The world had struggled. But now, Earth was rising. And soon, the galaxy would know the truth. Humanity was not defeated. Humanity was preparing. The world had changed. A year ago, Earth had been abandoned by the Galactic Council, left to struggle alone. The aliens had expected humans to collapse, to beg for mercy. But they had forgotten one thing: humans never give up. Beneath the surface of the planet, hidden from enemy eyes, Earth was building something new, something powerful. A city beneath the Earth. Deep underground, in a secret facility called Nova Base, hundreds of scientists, engineers, and leaders gathered. Massive halls stretched for miles, filled with new human-made technology. Giant screens displayed blueprints of warships, energy weapons, and advanced armor, all developed in secret. Dr. Aaron Patel stood in front of a glowing console, watching as a massive spaceship was being assembled. It was unlike anything the Galactic Council had ever seen, sleek, fast, and built with technology no alien had ever used before. General Marcus Dean walked up beside him, his sharp eyes scanning the ship. "How long until it's ready?" Dr. Patel sighed. "A few more months. We're making progress, but we need more resources." The general nodded. "Then we'll get them." The Silent War. The Galactic Council believed Earth was weak, but they were wrong. While humanity worked in the shadows, small groups of skilled operatives were sent across the galaxy. Their mission? Steal technology, gather intelligence, and weaken the Council from within. On the planet Vesera 9, a team of human spies infiltrated a Galactic Council research facility. Dressed as workers, they moved quietly through the corridors, copying alien data onto small hidden devices. One of them, a woman named Sarah Ling, whispered to her partner, "The Council is lazy. They haven't upgraded their security in years." Her partner smirked. "That's their mistake." With the stolen information, Earth scientists made new breakthroughs. Energy weapons became stronger. Ships became faster. Humans were evolving beyond what the aliens had ever imagined. The Council remains blind. Back on the Council's homeworld, Chancellor Weimar sat in his grand office, reading reports. Every document said the same thing. Earth was silent. "There is nothing to worry about," Weimar said, sipping the golden drink. "Humans are struggling to survive. They are no longer a threat." Councillor Drexa frowned. "Still, I feel uneasy. Perhaps we should send scouts to check on them." Weimar waved a hand. "A waste of time. Let them fade into history." But he was wrong. A new dawn for Earth. Back on Earth, the final tests for humanity's first fleet of warships had begun. In a secret launch bay hidden within the Rocky Mountains, David Hale stood beside a towering spaceship, the Horizon 1. It was a beautiful machine, built with both human ingenuity and stolen alien knowledge. It had weapons stronger than anything the Council had, engines that could outrun any fleet, and shields that could withstand enemy fire. David placed a hand on the cold metal. "They think we're nothing," he whispered. "Let's prove them wrong." Nearby, General Dean addressed a group of young pilots. "The galaxy abandoned us. They left us to suffer. But today, we take the first step toward our revenge." The pilots stood straight, determination in their eyes. Humanity would not remain in the shadows forever. Soon, the galaxy would remember Earth's name. The first strike. A week later, a small Galactic Council supply ship drifted near the edge of the Sol system. It was a simple cargo vessel, carrying food and fuel for an outpost. Without warning, a massive shadow loomed over it. The crew looked up and gasped. A sleek, black warship had appeared out of nowhere. It was not of any known alien design. It was human. Inside the warship, Captain Sarah Connors gave the order. "Disable their engines. No casualties." Blue energy beams struck the supply ship, shutting down its systems in seconds. The alien crew panicked, sending distress signals. But no one came. The human soldiers boarded the ship, quickly taking control. They copied all the data, then left without a trace. The Galactic Council wouldn't even know what had happened. Back on Earth, the stolen data was analyzed. It contained secret Council communication logs, fleet movements, and security weaknesses. General Dean looked at the information and smiled. This is just the beginning. Humanity's hidden empire. The Galactic Council still believed Earth was weak. They had no idea that, beneath the surface, humanity had created a new empire in secret. A fleet was rising, a force unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. And soon, the Council would learn the truth the hard way. The Galactic Council still believed Earth was weak. They thought humanity was struggling to survive, trapped within their own solar system. But they were wrong. Earth was no longer just recovering. It was evolving. In the shadows, humans had built a hidden empire, stronger and more advanced than before. And now, they were ready to send a message, a warning in the darkness. In deep space, a Galactic Council patrol ship cruised through the stars. It was an ordinary mission, checking trade routes, scanning for pirates. The crew of 6 aliens sat lazily at their stations, expecting nothing unusual. Then the alarms blared. A dark, unknown ship appeared out of nowhere. It was massive, silent, and terrifying in its design. The alien commander, a blue-skinned creature named Kelmer, stood up in shock. "What is that?" he shouted. One of his officers scanned the ship. "Unknown origin. No council markings. Sir, it's..." Before he could finish, a voice crackled through the ship's speakers. It was deep, strong, and unmistakably human. "This is Captain Sarah Connors of the Earth Alliance fleet. Shut down your engines and prepare to be boarded." Kelmar's blood ran cold. Earth? That's impossible. They have no ships. But reality proved otherwise. In seconds, the human warship disabled the patrol vessel's engines with precise energy blasts. The Council crew had no choice but to surrender. Minutes later, human soldiers in sleek, high-tech armor entered the ship. They carried weapons unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. Captain Connors stepped forward. "We are not here to kill. We are here to deliver a message." Kelmar gulped. What message?" She leaned in, her eyes cold and serious. "Tell your leaders, Earth has not fallen. And soon, we will return." With that, the humans left. Their ship disappeared into the void, leaving the alien crew shaken and terrified. The Council reacts. The news reached the Galactic Council within hours. Chancellor Weimar listened to the report in silence. His sharp fingers tapped against the armrest of his throne-like chair. "A human warship," he muttered. "Impossible." Councillor Drexa, who had always been cautious about Earth, hissed in frustration. "You said they were weak. You said they would fade away." Weimar narrowed his glowing eyes. "This must be a mistake. Perhaps pirates pretending to be humans." Drexa shook his head. "We must investigate. If humans have truly built warships, then we may have made a terrible mistake." Weimar waved a hand dismissively. "Send a scouting team. Let them confirm if Earth is really a threat." Drex's eyes darkened. "And what if they are?" Weimar smirked. "Then we will crush them." The return of an old ally. Meanwhile, on a distant moon, an alien scientist named Korak watched the news in horror. He was an old friend of Earth, one of the few non-humans who had opposed the Council's betrayal. "They cast Earth aside, and now they fear its return," he murmured. Korak had once worked with human engineers, studying their creativity and rapid innovations. He had warned the Council that humanity would not stay weak forever, but no one had listened. Now it was clear the humans were coming back. And Korak had a choice to make. Would he remain loyal to the Council, or would he help his old friends? Earth prepares for war. Back on Earth, General Marcus Dean stood before a massive display screen in Nova Base. It showed a map of the entire galaxy, with Earth at its center. David Hale and Dr. Aaron Patel stood beside him, watching the glowing dots representing enemy fleets. Dean crossed his arms. "The Council will not ignore our message. They will come." Dr. Patel nodded. "Then we must be ready. We need more ships, stronger defenses, better weapons." David smirked. "We're already ahead of them." He pressed a button, and the screen changed, showing dozens of newly completed warships hidden across the system. Each one was fast, powerful, and equipped with technology beyond anything the Council had ever seen. General Dean's eyes gleamed. "Good. He turned to his officers. We have sent our warning. Now we wait. The galaxy had abandoned Earth. Now it was Earth's turn to decide the future. The message had been sent. The Galactic Council now knew the truth. Earth had not fallen. But instead of seeking peace, they prepared for war. Chancellor Weimar still believed humans were weak. A single warship does not make them powerful, he told his advisors. Earth is bluffing. They think they can scare us. Councillor Drexa disagreed. We must not underestimate them. If humans have one ship, they may have more. Weimar smirked. Then let's find out. And so, the Council made its first mistake. The Scout Fleet. A fleet of 5 Council warships was sent toward Earth's solar system. These ships were not meant to attack, only to observe. The Council believed they would find a struggling planet, barely surviving. Commander Valric, a reptilian officer, stood at the bridge of his flagship. Scan the system, he ordered. His officers worked quickly. Sir, we detect energy readings from Earth's moon and Mars. Valric frowned. Mars, that planet is lifeless. But then the alarms blared. One of his officers gasped. Sir, multiple ships, approaching fast. The view screen flickered on, showing dozens of sleek, black warships emerging from the darkness. They were human, and they were waiting. A voice came through the speakers. This is General Marcus Dean of the Earth Alliance Fleet. You have entered restricted space. Leave now. Valric felt a chill run down his spine. The humans had a fleet, something the Council never expected. Sir, what do we do? An officer whispered. Valric hesitated. They had not come for battle. But he knew one thing. If humans had built this many ships in secret, the Council was in danger. Finally, he spoke. Retreat. We must warn the Council. The alien fleet turned and fled, disappearing into the void. Earth had let them go. But the message was clear. Humanity was ready. The Council's fear. When Valric's report reached the Galactic Council, a heavy silence filled the Grand Chamber. Weimar clenched his jaw. They had built a fleet. Councillor Drexa glared at him. You said they were weak. You said they were finished. Weimar's hands trembled. He had been wrong. The humans had not just survived. They had thrived. They have warships, Drexa continued. What else are they hiding? The councillors murmured in fear. If humans had built a hidden empire, then the balance of power in the galaxy had changed. Weimar stood up sharply. We cannot allow this. If Earth rises, they will challenge our rule. Drexa nodded. Then we must act before they strike first. The Council had made its second mistake. Earth's decision. Back on Earth, General Dean, Dr. Patel, and David Hale stood in Nova Base's war room. A hologram of the retreating alien fleet flickered before them. David smirked. They're scared. Dr. Patel crossed his arms. Yes, but fear can be dangerous. The Council won't ignore this. General Dean nodded. They will come back. And next time, they won't just be watching. Silence filled the room. The leaders of Earth had a decision to make. Should they wait for the Council to attack, or should they strike first? Dr. Patel spoke first. If we attack, they will call us the enemy. They will unite against us. David shook his head. If we wait, they will send a larger fleet. We might not be ready for that. General Dean exhaled. Then we prepare. We don't start the war, but we make sure we win it. The room filled with agreement. Earth would not fire the first shot. But if the Council dared to attack, they would regret it. The Shadow War begins. Over the next few weeks, Earth's forces moved in secret. Factories worked day and night, producing new weapons. Engineers improved ship designs, making them faster and stronger. Spy teams infiltrated Council worlds, gathering critical intelligence. On the distant planet Velcor 7, a small human strike team sneaked into a Council data facility. Their leader, Sarah Ling, whispered to her team, "Stay quiet. We get the data and leave. Minutes later, she hacked into the system. The information she found made her heart stop. She quickly contacted Nova Base. "Sir, we have a problem." General Dean's voice came through. "What is it?" Sarah's hands trembled. "The Council is preparing an invasion fleet. They're coming for Earth." Silence. Then, General Dean spoke in a calm, cold voice. "Then they just made their biggest mistake. Earth's vicious revenge begins. The Council had made its choice. They had abandoned Earth. They had tried to break humanity. Now, they were coming to finish the job. But what they didn't know was that Earth was no longer weak. Earth was angry. And this time, humanity would strike back. The Galactic Council had made its choice. An invasion fleet was coming for Earth. But the Council did not know the truth. They thought Earth was weak, unprepared. They believed their victory was certain. They were wrong. Earth had spent decades preparing for this moment. And now, humanity was ready to strike back. The Council's grand fleet. In deep space, hundreds of warships gathered near the Council's central world. They were sleek, powerful, and equipped with the best weapons in the galaxy. Chancellor Weimar stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, the Imperial Wrath. He gazed at the fleet with satisfaction. "With this force, Earth will fall," he declared. "This time, there will be no survivors." Councillor Drexo was less certain. "We do not know the full strength of humanity. Our scouts saw warships. What if they have more?" Weimar scoffed. "Then we crush them. No species can stand against the might of the Council." But Drexa had a bad feeling. Something about this attack felt wrong. And soon, he would realize why. Earth's shadow tactic. Back on Earth, inside Nova Base, General Marcus Dean stood before a holographic display of the enemy fleet. Beside him, Dr. Aaron Patel and Intelligence Officer David Hale analyzed the situation. David smirked. "They think they're going to surprise us." Dr. Patel nodded. "They have no idea we already know everything." The stolen Council data had given Earth a clear view of the enemy's movements. Humanity now knew where the fleet was, how many ships they had, and when they would attack. General Dean clenched his fists. "We won't let them come near Earth. We take the fight to them." Dr. Patel raised an eyebrow. "You mean an ambush?" David grinned. "No, a ghost war." Dean nodded. "We don't fight them head-on. We break them from the shadows." It was time for humanity's hidden weapons to be unleashed. The first strike. Far from Earth, in the cold darkness of space, a single Council battleship patrolled near the invasion fleet. Captain Relmac sat comfortably in his chair, expecting nothing unusual. His ship was powerful, one of the finest in the fleet. Then, without warning, the lights flickered. The ship's engines died. The crew panicked. "Sir, we've lost power." Before Relmac could react, something moved in the darkness. A black, silent human warship appeared, its hull blending into space. It fired a single pulse weapon, releasing an invisible electromagnetic blast. Relmac's ship was completely disabled. Then the voice of a human commander echoed through the ship's speakers. "Welcome to the war." A moment later, the human ship vanished. Relmac's vessel was left drifting, helpless. The Council's invasion fleet had just suffered its first loss. The fear spreads. Chancellor Weimar was furious. How could a single ship disable one of our best battleships? His officers scrambled for answers. "We don't know. It appeared out of nowhere and disappeared just as fast." Councillor Drex's face was grim. "Humans are using new technology. We are fighting an enemy we don't understand." Over the next 3 days, more Council ships vanished. Some lost power and drifted into space. Others had their navigation systems hacked, sending them into asteroid fields. Supply ships mysteriously exploded, cutting off resources. The Council fleet was under attack, and they couldn't even see their enemy. The Silent Hunters. While the Council panicked, Earth's elite strike teams continued their mission. Sarah Ling and her squad of covert operatives infiltrated a council supply base, planting explosives and gathering intel. As she and her team slipped through the shadows, she whispered into her communicator, "Phase 1 is complete." Back in Nova Base, General Dean received the message. He nodded. "Good. Now we move to Phase 2. Earth's real counterattack was about to begin. The Council's breaking point. Inside the Imperial Wrath, Weimar paced back and forth. "Enough. We attack Earth now." But his officers hesitated. "Sir, our fleet is already weakened. If we lose more ships..." Weimar slammed his fist on the control panel. "No more waiting. No more fear. We end this now." Counselor Drexus sighed. "You still don't understand. We are the ones being hunted." But Weimar refused to listen. He issued the order. "All ships, attack Earth." The Council's full invasion force launched toward the blue planet. But what they didn't know was that Earth was waiting for them. The trap is set. Inside Nova Base, alarms blared as the Council fleet moved toward Earth. David Hale grinned. "They're coming." Dr. Paddle smiled. "Good. They're walking right into our trap." General Dean's eyes were cold and sharp. He gave the final order. "Let's finish this." Humanity's vengeance was about to begin. The Galactic Council's invasion fleet moved toward Earth like a dark storm, filling space with massive warships. Their engines burned bright, their weapons primed. Inside the Imperial Wrath, Chancellor Weimar stood tall. His voice echoed through the command deck. "Today, we end humanity." His officers cheered. They believed victory was certain. But they still did not understand. Earth was not afraid. Earth was waiting. Earth's final warning. As the Council fleet approached, a single transmission came from Earth. It was General Marcus Dean. His face was calm, his voice steady. "This is your last chance. Turn back now." Chancellor Weimar laughed. "Or what? You will surrender." General Dean's eyes hardened. "No, but you will regret this." Then the transmission cut off. Weimar smirked. "Foolish humans. All ships. Attack." The Council fleet charged toward Earth. And that was when the trap was sprung. The sky burns. Without warning, hundreds of hidden Earth warships appeared from the darkness. They had been waiting, their hulls coated in advanced stealth technology. They opened fire. Laser beams and missile strikes rained down on the Council fleet. Explosions lit up the void. The massive alien warships shook violently as their shields collapsed. Council officers panicked. Where did these ships come from? Weimar's eyes widened. They had a hidden fleet. Impossible. But it was real. Earth's ghost fleet had been preparing for this moment for years. The hunters had become the hunted. The ambush deepens. While the space battle raged, Earth's surface defenses activated. Massive cannons fired from the moon, tearing through enemy ships. Mars' hidden defense stations launched missiles, striking enemy command centers. Earth's orbital defense platforms rained fire, blasting through alien hulls. Everywhere, the Council fleet struggled. Weimar's officers shouted in fear. "Their weapons are too strong. We are losing ships." "Sir, they were ready for us." Weimar's face twisted in anger. This cannot be." But it was too late. The fall of the Council fleet. One by one, Council warships exploded. The Imperial Wrath trembled under heavy fire. The once great invasion force was now a fleet of burning wreckage. Inside Nova Base, David Hale grinned as he watched the battle unfold. They never stood a chance. Dr. Patel nodded. They underestimated us. That was their mistake. General Dean's voice was calm but firm. "No more warnings. End this." Earth's fleet pushed forward, unleashing its full power. In less than 1 hour, the Council's invasion fleet was destroyed. Weimar stared at the wreckage in horror. His empire's greatest army had been wiped out. By humans. Chancellor Vamar's last stand. The Imperial Wrath was the last remaining warship. Its engines were damaged, its weapons failing. Smoke filled the bridge. Counselor Drexa coughed, his voice weak. We lost. Vamar refused to accept it. His hands trembled as he glared at the battle reports. How could humans do this? They are supposed to be weak, he whispered. Drexa sighed. We were wrong. A final transmission came through. General Dean appeared on screen. His expression was cold and firm. This is over, he said. Surrender now. Vamar clenched his fists. His pride refused to let him bow to humans. But he knew. The war was lost. With a deep breath, he spoke his final order. All remaining crew, stand down. The battle was over, and humanity had won. Earth stands victorious. Across Earth, cheers erupted. The people celebrated their greatest victory. The Galactic Council had fallen. For years, they had tried to destroy humanity. But Earth had survived. Earth had fought back. And now, the galaxy would never underestimate them again. General Dean stood at Nova Base, watching the stars. David Hale smirked. What happens now? Dr. Patil answered, his voice filled with certainty. Now, Earth takes its place among the stars. The beginning of a new era. The galaxy would never forget what happened that day. The Council had come to crush Earth. But instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous. A united, powerful humanity. And this was only the beginning. The battle was over. The once great Galactic Council fleet had been destroyed. Ships that had once ruled the stars were now wreckage floating in space. Earth had won. But the war was not finished yet. The real battle was about to begin. A battle for the future of the galaxy. The Council's broken throne. Far from Earth, in the Council homeworld, panic spread like wildfire. The greatest leaders of the galaxy sat in a vast chamber, their faces filled with fear. The room, once a place of power, now felt weak. An alien leader with dark blue skin, High Speaker Lorcan, slammed his fist on the table. This is impossible. Earth was supposed to be weak. Another counselor, a reptilian named Verix, hissed. Weak? They destroy our greatest fleet. They hunted us in the dark. They were never weak. Whispers filled the room. Fear, confusion, shame. For years, the Council had controlled the galaxy, believing they were untouchable. But now, humanity had proven them wrong. Lorcan looked at the other counselors. What do we do now? Silence. No one had an answer. Then a voice spoke from the shadows. We only have two choices. All eyes turned toward Counselor Drexa. The two choices. Drexa stood tall. His face was grim, but his voice was steady. Our choices are simple, he said. We can fight again and face complete destruction. He paused. Then he spoke the words no one wanted to hear. Or we can surrender. The room fell silent. Surrender? The mighty Galactic Council had ruled the stars for centuries. No species had ever dared to challenge them. And now, they were expected to surrender to humans. Lorcan's face turned red with anger. Never. We will not bow to a primitive species. Drexa sighed. Then you are a fool. Verix narrowed his eyes. What do you mean? Drexa looked around the room. We do not understand humanity. That is why we lost. We thought they were weak. We were wrong. His voice grew stronger. They are smarter than we thought. They are stronger than we thought. And if we attack them again, they will destroy us all. The room was filled with heavy silence. Because deep down, they all knew he was right. Earth's unexpected message. Just then, a transmission interrupted the meeting. A human face appeared on the large screen. It was General Marcus Dean. The alien leaders froze. The man who had defeated their fleet was now speaking directly to them. His expression was calm, his voice steady. The war is over. Earth does not seek destruction. But if you try to attack us again, We will not hold back. Lorcan clenched his fists. So this is how humanity rules. With threats? Dean shook his head. No, we don't want to rule the galaxy. We only want respect. We want our place among the stars. The counselors exchanged glances. This was not what they expected. Humanity had won. They could have demanded anything. Yet, they only asked for respect. The decision. Drexa took a deep breath. Then he turned to the others. You see now, humans are not like us. They could have destroyed us. Instead, they offer peace. Varric sighed. So, we surrender. Drexa nodded. No, we do not surrender. We change. He looked back at General Dean's image. We will no longer see Earth as an enemy. From now on, Earth is our equal. Lorcan's face twisted in anger, but he said nothing. Because deep down, he knew. This was the only way. A new galactic order. Days later, the official message was sent. For the first time in history, the Galactic Council recognized Earth as a major power. The galaxy had changed forever. No longer was Earth a small, unimportant planet. No longer were humans seen as weak. Now, they were respected. Now, they were feared. Now, they were equal. Inside Nova Base, David Hale grinned as he read the message. We did it. Dr. Patel nodded. We survived. We proved them wrong. General Dean stood by the window, looking at the stars. His voice was calm, but firm. This is just the beginning. The war was over. But humanity's journey had only begun. The war was over. The Galactic Council, once the most powerful force in the universe, had accepted Earth as an equal. No longer was humanity seen as weak. No longer were they just another species among the stars. They had earned their place. But this was not the end of the story. This was only the beginning. The Treaty of the Stars. On the Galactic Council homeworld, leaders from all over the universe gathered for a historic event. For the first time, humanity had been invited as an equal. A massive hall filled with powerful alien leaders, each seated in high-backed chairs, their expressions uncertain. At the front of the room stood General Marcus Dean, representing Earth. He looked around at the gathered counselors. Some were still filled with pride, others with fear, but they all knew the truth. The galaxy had changed forever. High Speaker Lorcan, who once mocked Earth, spoke first. His voice was slow, careful. Humanity has surprised us all. Varric, the reptilian leader, nodded. We expected weakness. Instead, we found strength. Dean's expression did not change. The war was never our choice. We only defended ourselves. Drexa, the only counselor who had understood Earth's power, stood up. His voice was strong. The past is over. The future is what matters now. He raised a new treaty, its golden surface shining under the bright lights. This document will recognize Earth as a major power. It will guarantee that no one will ever threaten their planet again. A hush fell over the room. Then, one by one, the counselors stood and signed the treaty. With each signature, the galaxy changed. Earth was no longer an outsider. They were now a rising force. A message to Earth. Back on Earth, news of the treaty spread like wildfire. Crowds gathered in every major city, watching as General Dean appeared on their screens. Standing tall, his voice carried across the world. The war is over. Cheers erupted across the planet. But this is not just a victory for Earth. It is a victory for the future. We have proven that we will not be controlled, that we will not be underestimated. His gaze was strong. And now, the stars are open to us. The people of Earth knew this was just the start. Humanity's next step. In Nova Base, David Hale leaned back in his chair, a grin on his face. We actually did it. Dr. Patel nodded. The galaxy will never look at us the same way again. General Dean joined them, his expression calm but thoughtful. This was just the first battle, he said. Now we have to decide what comes next. Hale smirked. So, what's the plan? Dean turned to a holographic map of the galaxy. Countless stars stretched before them. For centuries, humanity only dreamed of exploring the stars, he said. Now we will do more than dream. He pointed at a distant system. We will expand. We will build. We will thrive. The others nodded. Humanity had proven their strength in war. Now they would prove their strength in peace. A galaxy forever change. Across the universe, species whispered about Earth. Some feared them. Some respected them. Some wanted to ally with them. But one thing was certain. No one would ever underestimate them again. In hidden corners of space, new enemies watched with interest. Some saw Earth as a new rival. Others as a dangerous threat. But Earth was ready. They had survived. They had fought. They had won. And now, they were here to stay. The beginning of a new era. As Earth's first great starships prepared for new journeys, one thing was clear. Humanity had entered the galaxy as warriors, but they would continue as leaders. And this was only the beginning of their story. End of story.